Hi, this is Grace Pamela of StemRata.com, and I wanted to show you a tutorial on how you can change the color of clothing. And this can also work for blankets and backdrops and pretty much anything that you want to change the color of. But I'm mostly going to focus on clothing today. Okay, so this image is by Lindsey Lee Photography, and it's already gorgeous just the way it is. So I'm merely using this as an example to show you how to do it. And I wanted to choose a drastic color so you can see that you can really change the color of anything that you would like. Now, you might be wondering why you might change the color of something. There's several reasons. One of them could be that you are just beginning your venture in photography and maybe you can't afford, 5-6 different color dresses to add variety to your portfolio. This would be a great way. You can have several different models wear the same dress and you can just change the color of the dress, and then that way you have a lot to add to your portfolio without having to spend a lot of money right up front. Other ways you can expand your creativity in Photoshop, obviously, to bring more for your clients. Outfit changes for them that they don't even really need to actually change. You might have a more specific theme that you're going for in Photoshop or in your photos, so that, like, let's say you wanted this all to be more blue, then you might change her dress to also be blue. So just a few examples. So I'm going to go ahead and show you. There's two different ways that you can do this, and this is all by hand, not using any actions. So one of the ways that you can do it is you can duplicate your background layer by right-clicking and going to Duplicate Layer. And then you can go up to Image, Adjustment, and then select Replace Color. Here, you're going to want to select the plus dropper tool here and select the colors that you want to change. Now, for some reason it's showing, it looked like it already selected the green. So if that happens, just go ahead and select this dropper tool and select your actual color that you want to start with. And then you'll see it's only selecting parts of her dress. But you'll also see it's not selecting all of her dress. So that's why we want to use the plus dropper tool. So you want to make sure you're selecting pretty much all the areas of her dress. I'm going to show you another way that you can change the color also manually without having to do it this way. This is just a quick and easier way to do it, but it's not as thorough as the other way. So I'm just going to really quick show you how to do this part. Okay, so I got most of her dress pretty much selected. So now once you have that all selected, you can go down here and play with the sliders, and you can change the hue, and you can also change the saturation if you want. Now it looks like I didn't select all the areas of her dress, so I'm going to select the plus dropper tool here and make sure I get it all. Now the reason why we put it on a duplicate background is so we can go in and edit it. So don't worry about that. Just make sure you have all the areas selected. Okay, and you can also play with the lightness. And you can also select that color box to select a different color entirely. Now you don't want to come up here because it'll just look weird. So you want to stay down here where it's going to look a little more realistic. And then you can go ahead and select OK. And like I said, if you don't like this, we're gonna mask it off, or you can also just select your dropper tools and kind of just play around with it till you get everything that you like. Okay, so that's just a quick example. I'm gonna select OK, and then you can go ahead and add a layer mask to that layer, and select Control I to invert that. And then it's back to the other color. And I'm going to up the opacity on my brush. I'm going to select a white soft paintbrush to paint in my black layer mask. And then you can just go ahead and paint it all in. Now it should, for the most part, not get the rest of your image, but I kind of rushed, so it's not perfect. And you can use a soft black paintbrush to zoom in and erase the parts that you want to fix. Like I'm getting some blue on her hand. So that's a really quick way you can do it. It's not as accurate, but the other thing too is if you want to start out at this point, it might be a little easier because, you know, it lets you really quick mask it on for the most part, but it's not perfect. So you can also go in and add an additional layer that will let you have a little more control over where your colors are going to be. Now I'm using a black paintbrush. This is erasing the effect from parts of her skin and other areas on the image where I don't want it. Okay, so that's just a really quick example. Once you have that selected, you can adjust the opacity that you want. You might not want it all the way as bright. I'm gonna get in here. So yes, that's a really quick way that you can do it. And I'm gonna go ahead and show you another way to do it. Now this way you can add on to this, or you can just completely start from scratch. Totally up to you. So what you would need to do is you'll need to go up to Layer and go to New Fill Layer and Solid Color. You want to change the blending mode to color and then select OK. And you can just select any color for now, select OK. And then you want to select your layer mask and select Control or Command I on your keyboard, and that will invert that. And it's the same thing. You're going to want to go in and grab your soft white paintbrush and just paint it on. Now this way you have a little more control, because this will go ahead, instead of using the color range for Photoshop users, you know, you can change the color of your whole image just like that. Now it's nice to have complete control, so that's why I wanted to show you 2 ways that you can do it. This is also, I believe, the only way that Photoshop Elements users can actually use this feature. So I don't think you guys have color range. I don't want to be here doing this all day, so I created another one earlier. This one isn't perfect either, but I made it not perfect so I can show you how to fix it. So just to speed things along, this is the same exact thing that I did here. I just already masked it pretty much on. So now you'll see it looks pretty good. But a lot of things photographers miss, and what makes it not so realistic, are the color cast. You can see along her hand, you can see some of the red from her dress. And you can see some up here. And obviously down here, I really did a quick job on there and to get the dress, and I didn't pay any attention to the green, and that's because I knew I was going to fix it later. So I'm going to show you, basically we're going to do the same steps over and over again. You can see here I created them. So all you're going to do again is just go to New Fill Layer, Solid Color, go to Color, select OK, select any random color, invert that layer mask, select a color that you want to change. So let's say I got some green here, select OK, select your black layer mask, use a white paintbrush, and you can just paint on the areas that you want to fix. Now you'll have to change, you have to create a new color fill layer anytime you want to change the color. So let's say this branch you want to fix, you'll need to create a new one for brown. And then you can go ahead and paint everything back the way it was. It's really kind of interesting how, you know, you really have full control as an artist. You are painting, this is your canvas, so it's pretty neat how you can have full control over how you want your story in your image to be told. And you can also lower the opacity again, or you can lower the opacity of your brush to kind of blend it a little bit more. And I'm going to go ahead and create another one, and this one is for her skin. Now, for your skin color, there will be areas where some of the skin are different shades. So this is lighter, and down here would be darker. So you want to be able to create a separate layer for each one. If you make any mistakes, see I got some on the dress here, just select a black brush. And that's how you can completely change the color. Once you have your color selected, the reason why I like doing it manually more than this one is great for quick changes, but the reason why I like doing it manually is you can go back, you can save this as a PSD file, and let's say later on you're doing you're doing a shoot for a promo for a different theme. Maybe you want to make it fall color, so let's say you wanted to change the colors of this whole image. You can go in and come back to your PSD file and you can completely change the color to make it more fall looking. So that's what's great about having the ability to have these separate layers here. So we have our before and after and changing the color. Now really quick, I want to go over, I don't remember if I went over this already, but when you double click in here, again you don't want to select a color that's way up here a lot of times, so you want to select down here usually. Now I've lowered the opacity. So you really got to play around in here and see what works. So for some images, a lot of images you want to stay down in here. For some of them you want to, it just depends on the whole image. So if you come over here, you're going to have more highlights usually. For some reason it's not doing it here. Or sometimes, as in this instance, you have more highlights and more depth in your dress over here. So it really all just depends on your image, but that way you at least know all the steps no matter what your image throws at you. So I hope you learned lots, and thank you so much for watching.